Jamaica Mountain Peak Golden Turmeric Latte is
12 p.m.
It's Monday, June 17, 2024. Welcome to CVM News at Noon. I'm Nika Lewis. 4 men are now dead and another injured following a motor vehicle crash on Sunday in White House, Westmoreland. It's reported that the deceased were traveling on motorcycles. Commanding officer for the parish, Superintendent Othniel Dobson, details the incident.
About 6:05 p.m. Sunday, June 16, 2 motorcycles with pillions on board were traveling in an easterly direction along the Culloden Main Road towards White House. They overtook an orange 2024 Yaris motorcar and collided in the front of a white Toyota IS, which was traveling in a westerly direction towards Savlamar. All 4 persons on the 2 motorbikes succumbed to their injuries. The police is currently investigating this accident. I take this opportunity to urge motorists, especially motorcyclists, to operate their motorcycles with care. Stay within the speed limits, wear protective gears, and help us to lower the number of fatal accidents in Westmoreland.
Meanwhile, Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, the NRSC, Dr. Lucien Jones, says there must be something the government can do.
This is madness. This is continued madness. And as a nation, we need to wake up and put in place the measures that will arrest this kind of carnage on our roads. 2 things happened recently, which if we take advantage of, can make a difference. At a meeting with the Prime Minister, it was agreed that one of the measures that we could put in place quickly was the use of cameras to detect infractions and to send tickets to the offender. This needs to happen like yesterday. I know there are some challenges, but whatever challenges there are, those challenges need to be overcome very quickly, because the use of cameras to detect infractions can make a difference.
Now to a developing story. The management at King Alarm Services Limited has said it's open to meeting with several security personnel who protested outside its corporate headquarters in Kingston this morning. The protest, sparked by myriad employment concerns, saw the firm's general manager with responsibility for operations, Delano Virgo, addressing several allegations with a view to offer clarity.
I have no knowledge of that. Again, if somebody is able to substantiate their claim, we are prepared to review the situation, but currently as I speak with you, I am not aware of that situation.
Anything else you would like to add?
No, again, the persons that are protesting this morning, we encourage them. Actually, we reached out to them, invited them to a meeting, and they declined to meet with us, right? But we are still prepared to meet with them on a one-on-one basis and examine their concern to see how best the matter can be resolved, or the matters can be resolved.
Meantime, the placard-bearing guards outlined their grouses, insisting, aside from wage and overtime discrepancies, they've been targeted for seeking to unionize.
Don't care how they victimize us, sabotage us, demote us, we are going to get our union. Right now, I am not sure if I have a job, but I'm willing to put that on the line for us to get better. We need better as a worker. Response is the backbone for Mr. John Azar. So we should be treated accordingly.
Since late last year, the island has been plagued with drought, an issue that Water Minister Senator Matthew Samuda says is not an easy fix. Speaking on Lead Story recently, he explained while citizens continue to call for better measures, it's easier said than done.
Jamaica is the land of wood and water, and I want to start from there. That tells you that the problems that we have are fixable. Doesn't mean that the problems that we have are cheap to fix. What it just means that the problems that we have are indeed fixable. So last year, in about October or September of last year, the Prime Minister tabled the Water Resources Master Plan, which is a requirement of the Water Resources Agency Act, and he did that. And that showed, George, that Jamaica still has, by parish, sufficient groundwater and river coverage to supply potable water, irrigation water to our citizens. What we don't have, and we should not be shy about, and we should not be cute about, is sufficient infrastructure to convert raw water to potable water. We simply don't have that. And it's impatient of debate, we don't need to be cute about it. The reality is, over the last 40 years, the investments have been insufficient to allow for this.
While some Jamaicans are adamant that the sex offenders registry should be made public, one attorney says citizens must be educated before the government can proceed with such a move. Speaking on Sunrise today, attorney-at-law Christopher Henry says the government cannot simply go ahead and publicize the names.
And before we open the registry, we should seek to educate the public on the tools of justice or the course of justice, and allow it to run its course. We need to educate them that vigilante justice is not the way. It is not the way to solve our problems, and that they need to understand that regardless of if the person is on the sex offender registry, they are persons too, and they have legal rights. And they've done the crime, they've been registered as a sex offender. I think in and of itself that is enough punishment, because you're basically a social pariah. So an education campaign in relation to mostly all crimes in Jamaica, because we believe that we're supposed to take justice into our own hands. We need an entire education campaign to just fix that whole vigilante justice culture, or attempt to fix.
Now, 2 people were arrested and charged after being caught on video displaying sexual activity in Spalding, Manchester, and that video went viral. Both victims could be seen taking turns while others recorded the act. Head of the Manchester Police, DSP Kerry Duncan, says this behavior will not be tolerated.
Public order must be maintained in Manchester. As a matter of fact, for those of us who probably are social media inclined, just last week, coming into this week, there's a trend going on social media. We also have video trending up there in Spalding, where some persons were engaged in some public display of sexual encounters. Just to report to this meeting that, yes, these persons were in fact arrested and charged and are waiting to be placed before the court.
CVM News at noon returns after this break.
Sure we can. We never see a boil up party like you.
Hey son, you good?
No, Dad, I'm starving. Can we get some juicy patties?
Celebrating over 40 years of everyday moments.
Let's go! Bag it and pin it, every rubbish in a pan. No dirty up the place, this a we island. So keep Jamaica, say me could do it. keep Jamaica clean. Make you listen to me please. No plastic bag, no fear blowing at the breeze. No proper garbage disposal, recycle plastic, now make it full up in the streets. Bag it and bin it, every rubbish in a pan. No dirty up the place, this a few island. So keep Jamaica, keep Jamaica. Say me good with a message from the National Solid Waste Management Authority.
Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment. Well, on Sunday, 4 men sustained serious injuries and died from a collision involving 2 motorcycles and a bus in White House, Westmoreland. Their deaths bring the total road fatalities since the start of this year to 109. Joining me now to dissect this reality is the Vice President of the National Road Safety, the NRSC. He's a vice president of the vice chairman rather of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones. Dr. Jones?
Hi, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back. I gather the vacation was good.
Yes, very good. Thanks very much.
Indeed, but this is not something that we can unfortunately smile about because we're talking about what's happening on our nation's roads. What, pray tell, is happening out there?
Well, the major problem, as we have been talking about all year and for many years now, is the amount of motorcyclists who are dying on our roads. And 4 more yesterday and 1 the day before. So we have had 4 motorcyclists who have died in the past 48 hours. It's actually 190, not 119. And the challenge we face, not only in terms of motorcyclists, but generally speaking, is how to get people to be more careful on the roads, how to get them to slow down, because the number one problem we have across the world, not just in Jamaica, is people are speeding, people are driving under the influence of alcohol, people are staying in their lane, they're overtaking recklessly, and they are driving under the influence of both alcohol and marijuana. And some of the vehicles are unsafe, and we have roads which are also unsafe. So that's why we've been speaking about a comprehensive thing called the Safe Systems Approach.
Yes.
And we have had meetings with the Prime Minister. We had one about 3-4 weeks ago, at which point we discussed the use of cameras to augment and to beef up the enforcement issues, because enforcement is the number one challenge we have. How to enforce the laws of the country to make sure people don't speed. And we agreed that we would use cameras to both detect infractions and also to send out tickets to offenders. So that is something we are hoping that will be introduced very quickly, because you can't have a policeman in every corner, but you can have a camera in every corner. And if people are aware that they are being monitored by cameras at intersections and on the roads, then I think it will go a far way to get our people to stop speeding.
I know you mentioned a few of the strategies that you had suggested, but how realistic is it that stakeholders can actually put a dent in these numbers based on what's happening?
No, man, it happens. It happens in other countries. I mentioned in a news release this morning that the National Safety Council of Argentina was commended and received a prize from a very important global philanthropy called Bloomberg Philanthropies in New York. And they received a prize because they dropped or convinced the government to drop the level of alcohol that you can have in your breath or in your blood to 0. You can have none at all. And their fatality rate plummeted by about 37%. So it is happening in other countries. In other countries, about 25% of those people, those drivers who are involved in crashes, have been found to be driving under the influence of alcohol. In Jamaica, it's about 1% or less. So something is wrong with the breathalyzer program here. We can do much better certainly in terms of stopping people from driving under the influence of alcohol. We can do much better in terms of getting people to slow down. Well, a public education campaign is badly needed to go along with enforcement. So there are things that we can do, which we are not doing, which can make a difference.
I remember recently you met with the Prime Minister and other stakeholders in the transportation sector. What perhaps would you say is the state of affairs when it comes to the nation's roadways, the terrain, the material that makes some of these roads? Because we know we have some very terrible road surfaces in Jamaica, in some parishes especially.
Well, that is an issue which has been a long-term problem that we have spoken about time and time again. The reality is that safe roads is a very important part of the safe system strategy. So there are people who are swerving from potholes and crashing and dying. And there's an organization called IRAP, International Road Assessment Program, which we're trying to get to Jamaica. So what they do, they come and assess your roads, and they assign a star quality to your road. The best quality is a star 5, and the worst is a 1. WHO has recommended every country should have at least a 3-star network. So what we need to do is to get our network assessed and then learn from them what it will cost to upgrade our roads to a 3-star quality, and then put in the funds and have it fixed accordingly. Because unsafe roads are definitely a problem in Jamaica. We have roads which are not properly marked. ACP Mackenzie from the traffic police have been talking about this. They have submitted information to the NWA, not only in terms of marking, but cat's eyes and also signage. So there's a whole lot of work to be done in respect of that issue.
Understood. Especially because we know that Westmoreland is no stranger when it comes to road collisions and fatal crashes, especially involving motorbikes. So how effective would you say have these enforcement measures been predominantly in those spaces?
Well, Westmoreland has been a target for the National Road Safety Council in terms of training motorcyclists. So one of the things we realized early was that a lot of these young drivers between 20 and 39, 20 and 29, they don't have any license, they don't have any insurance, and they can't drive. So we have put it in place, but it's a small program which needs to be expanded significantly island-wide, plus other things that needs to come in place. So one is the training. The second one is that 90% of them are not wearing helmets when they die. So we have started a national helmet wearing coalition funded by a global charity, which is a 3-year program. So hopefully within a year or two, we'll have a significantly number of motorcyclists who are wearing a helmet. And you can save lives up to 6% of those who are dying if you wear an approved helmet. So those are 2 significant things that we are doing. One has better funding than the other one. We're hoping to get more funding for the first one in terms of training and also to expand the program. The second one, because it's funded externally, has better funding. So when we put those 2 things together, we believe that within a couple of years we'll have a significant drop in the number of motorcyclists who are dying. In respect of Westmoreland, that's really ground zero. For this year, this is from sometime early June. About 25 people have died in Westmoreland compared to, for example, St. Anne, which has 20. So Westmoreland, St. Anne, St. Elizabeth, St. Catherine, those are the places where we have a lot of crashes, both of motorcyclists and others.
Yes. In the case of motorcyclists, though, is it the challenge that they're not able to afford the safety gear, or they don't simply care for the safety gear?
They either don't think it's important, or they can't bother with it. So it's not a matter of affordability. Affordability may be an issue, yes, in some cases. But these young men have the money to buy a new cycle, because a lot of them are confiscated by the police because they have no license and they have no insurance. And by the next morning or a couple of days later, there's a new one on the road. Oh. So I don't think affordability is the issue. There are other issues in fact.
Well, I know that unfortunately, in some of these instances, we have the drivers of the vehicles dying. But many times the drivers are the ones who escape with their lives, and the commuting public are the ones who are oftentimes under the wheel. So what advice do you have to commuters?
Well, commuters in terms of drivers and pedestrians, because pedestrians make up a significant number of persons who are there on the road. So the message is pedestrians, be careful on the road. Walk on the side of the road where you're facing oncoming traffic. A number of pedestrians have been hit from behind because they're not aware of the car carrying off the road.